Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Joshua Ingalls, and I'm here with Shane Hunt. Shane is a beast in Columbus, Ohio. He's doing awesome things. He does large-scale projects, owns a rental portfolio, an expert in condo conversions, and is a speaker that speaks all across the United States about real estate. So big honor to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks again. We're here in sunny Cancun, so we're doing our interview at the pool, but really appreciate it. So Shane, tell me about your first deal. I always like to dive into people's how they got started.
Yeah, so my first deal, I actually remember the address, 103 West Kanawha Street in Columbus, Ohio. A little suburb about 2 miles north of Columbus, Ohio, the campus there. Yeah. So, go Bucks, that's where we're at. Yeah, we bought it. I had a business partner at the time getting started to just help get things rolling. He had a realtor that he was friends with, went out, met up with him, started getting us some deals, or getting us marketing and everything. So he brought us a deal that he had actually put in contract himself and then backed out of it because the rehab was a little bit more extensive. He just kind of did light lipstick, rehabs, and it was through HUD. So he called us and said, hey, this is going to be back on the market. I think you can offer this, get this. So really it was just networking with the realtor. So we put it in contract. The numbers were actually very, very rounded numbers. So we bought it for $75,000. Our holding and rehab costs were $25,000. So we were all in for $100K.
Awesome. What did you end up flipping that one for?
So that one we ended up doing, it was a pretty light rehab. It was a 2-story, 1 bath. We converted the upstairs into an extra bedroom, but very light rehab. Again, $25,000. We got that one done in about 2 months, and we ended up selling it for $168,000.
Wow, phenomenal deal.
Made about just under $50K on our first deal.
Awesome. Yeah. So not everybody's first deal goes like that. No. That's for sure. No, so did you have some challenges with that deal?
That one towards the end we did. We right out of the gate we got a deal, and then we got 2 more right after that, and we were letting our contractor do the other 2, and he did pretty well for about the first 6 out of 8 weeks, and then he started kind of falling off the map. Yeah. So we ended up being able to finish that one with him, but then we ended up having to fire him and on the next 2 that we had. So our main issue on that one was just contractor issues, which is a lot of what we find the industry kind of struggles with a little bit, can be contractors.
Yeah, absolutely. So on your very first deal, I mean, what agreements, what systems did you have in place? Were you kind of winging it?
No, I mean, I would, if anybody's going to get into real estate, even if you're first time or if you've been doing this for a while and you're struggling a little bit, or it's just not, you got to have systems. I mean, having a mentor, having a systems is huge. And the biggest thing too is a lot of times we have systems and we don't follow them. That's where now that I speak and train, I see a lot of people will leave things out or cut corners and try to reinvent the wheel, so they say. And that's when you really make mistakes. So we just followed the systems that we had, used our critical documents, had a rehab budget put together, had a solid scope of work together so they knew exactly what they were putting in, how they were doing it, and just followed it. And that's what kind of made it a little more of a smoother transition once we ended up having to get rid of that contractor. Yeah. We had a little bit of issue with them coming over the weekend and taking some materials and everything. But mainly it was a more smooth transition than most because of those systems.
Yeah, that's awesome. So right off the gate, you had systems in your business. Yeah. A lot of the people I've interviewed, their first deal a lot of times is a horror story. So good to hear yours was not that case. I mean, other than having to obviously. So you had to bring in another contractor at the tail end of that, or he did finish that first project?
He finished that first project.
Just the other 2.
Yeah, and then the other one we had, we were pretty far along.
Yeah.
And then my business partner at the time was a contractor as well, but did countertops and things like that. So we were far enough along where he was able to finish most of the work himself on that last one, which we recommend trying not to do that, but we were far enough along where we could. So we were able to recruit fairly well on that one.
Awesome. So tell me, how did so you bought it through HUD Home Store, I'm guessing, and then deals 2 and 3. How did you find them? How did you fund them?
The second one we found through the same realtor. Our realtor was doing, like I said, light lipstick rehabs, where just carpet and paint, where he was making 10 to 15K using his own money.
Yeah.
That's how he chose to do it.
Sure.
Obviously we try to tell people to use your money for other things, but that's a good business model for people like that. So he had a rehab going on in another area of town too, and he called us up and said, hey, this one's coming on the market. I think it's going to be a good one. So we went over there and looked at that one as well, and bought that one. I believe we bought the second one through HUD as well.
Awesome.
But that's one of the biggest things too, is surround yourself with top people and you'll get there.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. And whether you're doing it by yourself, whether you're doing it with a team, it's still, you want to surround yourself with like-minded people that are going to perform. And that's what helped us get our second deal. Our third deal I got from starting a marketing campaign. We did direct mail. Ended up getting a few calls back, met with a person, and they had a pretty big rental portfolio and some houses they were holding on to, so we met with him and got a house off that. It was the second one.
Awesome. So your third one. So sounds like a lot of the ways you're getting your deals is relationship based. So let's dive into that a little bit. How do you start? I mean, this sounds like this realtor, great connection for you. So how do you surround yourself and how do you choose the right people to work with?
The biggest thing too is just be yourself. Where I see a lot of students, and again, I kind of get in trainer speaker mode here, because giving back and training is really what I like. Where I find a lot of people fail, or they're just scared to go out and make a mistake, or they're scared to go out and just say, hey, I'm Shane, how you doing with a realtor, because you're doing a lot of great things in Chicago. I would say just practice, and do not be afraid to go up and tell that person or talk to that person. Say, here's what I'm doing, here's where I'm going, and if they say no, they say no. Then go to the second one. That's the biggest pitfall in anything we do in life, is we're afraid to be told no. Yeah. And we're afraid of rejection, and it's just going to happen. So the biggest thing too is just get over that, find out who the best people are, surround yourself with them. And sometimes the best doesn't necessarily have to be the most experienced, right? It could be an up-and-coming realtor or somebody that's been doing it for 2 or 3 years. So really just figure out what works for you, what you'd like to do, and really surround yourself, because I like to travel and do speaking more. So to me, I don't want to be doing 30, 40 rehabs a year. That's just not where I want to be. Now, I have a lot of friends that are doing 30, 40. Chris is doing 100 a year. Yeah. And that's fine for them. But for me, and they're spending a ton on marketing. But realtor and relationship-based works for me pretty well. And to be honest with you, I kind of tell people this, and it's hard to believe, but I probably only spent $800 in the last 4 years on marketing.
Wow.
But I have realtors that know what I want, they know what I'm looking for, and I get a lot of good pocket listings that way.
That's awesome. So let's dive into a little bit of the bigger rehabs, right? Because it sounds like your first 3 deals were medium-sized renovations.
Yeah, we were between 19,000 was one of them, 78,000 was our third rehab budget, and I think 25 was the other one. So that was kind of our. Okay,
well, 78 is a pretty good size.
Pretty good
that's a pretty good
third deal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So take me from that to, how did you transition to, like I said, a condo conversion, taking, like, I think you've done like a warehouse and turn that into condos. That's a pretty involved and pricey venture. So.
I mean, the thing that was their 5th deal we'd ever got in contract was the condos. And we got it through a pocket listing through a realtor that had helped us in the area. She came to us and said, hey, this is going to be going on the market. There's no condo comps in the area right now. It's going to be kind of the first of its kind for that little pocket. Yeah. So we were able to pull some comps from some other areas, but it wasn't in that specific area. So we just kind of had to go with, well, they were getting a little higher in this area. We're not that yet, so we're going to go a little lower. But it was the 5th deal I'd ever put in contract. So we bought a building. It was an old horse and buggy fire department building. It had been converted into Section 8 apartments and sat vacant for 3 years, I think. So they were in pretty rough shape when we got it. But we bought the building for $110. Our rehab budget was around $380 on that one. So it was a pretty large rehab budget. The thing was, being a part of a very good mentorship program, I didn't know how to do a condo. I had no idea. I just believed in the systems. I believed in myself. I believed in the team that we had, and just the margins were there. We had a good ROI on returns. So I knew I was going to make some mistakes going into it. I just knew it. And that's the biggest thing too. I tell people is don't be afraid to make mistakes. Take educated mistakes. If the numbers are there, go with it. And we got our butt kicked on that one a couple times. They ended up having to fire a contractor. We had to sue the contractor. We had to hold construction for about 3 months while we got, documents going on. So we got we got some learning lessons on there. We took a few on the chin, but we still made some really good profit when it was done. And overall, we ended up selling it. The comps had gone up the extra
awesome.
few months we had held it, which ended up being a good thing. So, but our budget of 350 or 380 ended up turning into about 500,000.
Okay, yeah.
After the construction costs, fire and everything, but with the comps went up as well, we still did pretty well on everything. So that's just kind of how I got into the condo conversion item. It's just neat because there's a lot of buildings sitting that people can't envision, being converted into condos. But anybody these days can they're throwing up steel buildings all day long and glass buildings. I mean, people like that. You can buy those. But taking something that's old, historical, that's got a lot of character and turning it into something, people will pay money for that too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I think there's a lot of buildings out there that are just sitting that can be utilized as good housing space.
Yeah, I've seen some of your work. Beautiful with the brick walls still in the units, which it's just got a awesome like rustic but yet modern feel. So yeah, definitely check out some of Shane's his profile and some of the photos of some of the projects he's done. So tell me a little bit about zoning. Did you have to get that rezoned?
Luckily, those were in areas to where they were already zoned for multifamily.
Okay.
And if you get into buildings where they're over 3,000 to 5,000 square feet and they've already been commercial previously, it's a little bit easier to get those zoned.
Yeah.
Because you're not taking a huge single-family house into a 3 to 5, 4-family. So we're able to kind of convert those over pretty easily. But they were already converted into multifamily, so that made it a lot easier to transition for us. But luckily I haven't had to deal with that yet with the other two that we got going on.
Okay, so everything right now, you haven't had to do anything with zoning. Okay.
No, we got pretty lucky on there.
All right, let's walk through, if somebody wants us to do condos, you have to set up some sort of association. So walk me through, what's the process to set up like condo docs and that
so
sort of
if
thing?
you're wanting to convert something over into condo, because our goal is to go ahead and sell them outright. I'm not holding them right now, renting them. I'm just selling them as, we'll do 4 units. So what we'll do is we'll set up a nonprofit LLC that's for the condo association itself. And then within that LLC, you got to get a fidelity bond that basically protects whoever the president's going to be from any mishandling, wrongdoing of funds. You have a fidelity bond for that. Then you will also have insurance for the condo itself, the condo association, which you will insure the walls out. So basically the shell of the property, the roof of the property, the common areas of the property you have to insure. And then the buyer will then get insurance for their initial condo walls in.
Yeah. How long does it take you to set up? Is that something you have going on during the rehab process?
Yeah. So once we get our final drawings approved, stamped, then what I'll do is I'll get a real estate attorney on board that will handle those condo docs for you. And our attorneys handle setting up the LLC, nonprofit, and everything. So we get that going. We also have to get a special survey that's called a condo survey. It's different than a mortgage survey. Yeah. A lot of times, you have to have your mortgage survey. But what a condo survey is, they'll actually come out, they'll do drawings of the plot, and then they put a special drawing together, and that gets turned in to the city and then to the condo association. So that gets done as we go, and then about a month before we're ready to turn them over, a couple weeks, I'll call and get the insurance set up, which takes a day.
So what was the biggest thing you learned from doing condo conversions? Like, what's something that you could give advice to somebody watching this or listening?
I'd say the biggest thing too is just add extra money. There's a lot of unknowns coming up, because basically with us, we've done 2 4-unit buildings here recently. So basically the interior of each unit is almost done as if it's a single family. We just do a single repair estimator on that, then we'll do a repair estimator for the whole outside. But the thing is too is just make sure I put an average of 20% contingency or more depending on the shape of the building if it's rough, because stuff comes up. And you just got to count a little bit for the common areas are a little different because you don't have that in a single family. So understand you're doing that. Another little trick too is a lot of places, a lot of cities, you just got to get with your local municipality and see what their laws or ordinances are. But you usually have to have 1.5 parking spaces per unit available. And most places will require you to have a bike rack if it's above 4, and then you have to plant a tree. Usually they want a tree for some reason. So, and it's kind of funny because people laugh about it and you think, well, a bike rack and a tree, how's that a big deal? Well, when you're in some very tight spaces, it's like, where in the world am I going to put a bike rack? Or why do you want a tree in this little place that has no yard, right? So, so some of those things are kind of funny. Just make sure you get with your local municipality, because once you go, residential is considered 3-family and below. Once you get to 4 units and above, it's considered commercial. Which to me, I still consider it residential, but you got to start doing a little bit different things once you get into that commercial.
So with these buildings, do they have basements?
One did, one does not.
Okay.
So what we're doing is if you have units A and B are directly above, if you split where the firewall is and unit A gets unit A storage and unit B gets unit B storage, then you can be a regular basement. If you start splitting multi and it's not where all 4 people can go down there and do storage, and you got to do sprinklers, so we chose not to go that route because we didn't want to sprinkler the basement.
Yeah.
Or you can just do it as a general common area for everybody. It just depends on what the municipality is. So with that one, we just decided to use 1/2 for storage A, 1/2 for storage B, and call it done.
Okay, awesome. And as far as, let's talk about your different businesses, right? Because you've got your rental business, you've got, you're doing some high-end projects, you've got the condo conversions, and then you even, I think you're part owner of a gym. So tell me.
And the public speaking. So
and public speaking, is owning a gym profitable?
It will be.
Okay.
It will be.
All right.
Yeah, and it's just something that came about. I've had a lot of people here ask me recently, what got you into the gym business? And well, really, I just turned 40 last week, so I knew I need to start working out and get healthy. And I was like, well, if I buy a damn gym, I don't have an excuse not to go. But
I don't know too many gym owners that aren't physically fit, so I guess it forces you to level up, right?
I mean, I've been working out off and on since I was 20 years old,
Yeah.
and I think being in shape helps. It helps keep the mind going. It helps get you out of the house, and just networking with some solid people. I'd recently moved to Missouri, came back, and I started working out with Terry Summers. And to me, I always tell people, surround yourself with people as good or better than you, right? And if you surround yourself with people making $30,000 a year, you're gonna have $30,000 ideas.
Yeah.
And I knew Terry he'd already owned a gym previously, and I was like, hey, let's start working out together, we're constantly talking about businesses, entrepreneurship. What are you doing with rentals? Because I'm a big rehabber, Terry's not. Terry is a big rental property person.
Yeah.
I'm not yet. So I just, that's who I want to manifest with. And you could be working out with your buddies, talking about girls or this or that, No, we're talking about buying buildings and everything. So he's like, hey, I got a gym that my partner wants out of in another area of town. And, we want to start building more and more and renting. I'm like, well, why are we renting? Let's start buying building space ourselves and then start renting those out.
So you own the building?
This one was already pre-existing, so we do rent. So he and I were just talking, and I was like, I've always wanted to run a gym. He's very good at pulling people together. He's very good at sales, and he already had a business partner that was going to stay with it that runs our day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm good at running a business, scaling, so it's just something that just manifested from just talking about $1 million ideas. So I bought into the gym back in April, and it'll take us it usually takes a gym 1 to 2 years to see profit. Mm-hmm. They started it in November of last year. I just came in April, and we're already breaking even. So
awesome.
We should be generating some profit pretty soon.
Great.
But yeah, hopefully I wouldn't buy into something that's not profitable, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, most businesses for first few years are not going to be profitable. So the fact that you're breaking even this early is a good sign.
Yeah, so we should be turning some cash flow here in the next couple months and really starting to build that. So, and our business model is you have some very small gyms and you have some very big gyms that don't really cater. So customer service is our big thing. So we're right we have a hometown gym feel with the amenities of big gyms. We're just not going to have the pool and things like that. So it's just kind of something we wanted to do. And then as we expand, we're hoping to get 4 or 5 and think about franchising at that point. But right now our goal is to get this one profitable, get a second one next year, and then a third and a fourth.
Awesome. So you're looking to expand that.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about maybe somebody's watching this, and because it sounds like you're a person that just is a connector, right? You know how to identify somebody that's really good at something. You plug them into your business. Maybe somebody's struggling in their business right now. Maybe who do they plug into their business to help them, or how do they kind of change that around? Because it seems like you've got good insight on just ways to do things a little bit differently, and it's just literally surrounding yourself with the right people.
That's key. And as I travel, I giving back and speaking, I love more than anything, because I didn't come from a whole lot. I grew up in a trailer. I lost my mom when I was 14 years old. I went and lived with my father, who's a good guy. He was just more of a roommate though. And I didn't come from a whole lot. So when giving back, and I struggled myself for many, many, many years, and even in my business it's went up and down. And if you're out there struggling, I would say don't give up. Every business, every entrepreneur has failed at some point in time, and they've struggled. And the average entrepreneur, a lot of people don't know this, they go bankrupt 6 times, or their businesses will fail 6 times before they get one right. So we've all struggled. And if people tell you they've never struggled, they're lying to you.
Absolutely.
I would say just dig in there. if you're watching TV, turn it off. If you're watching our news today, turn it off, right? Get away from mainstream media, get away from TV, get away, start reading books, start watching positive podcasts, and put that in your brain every day. I even happen to listen to motivational music when I work out.
Yeah.
And I travel a lot, so I have an audio book or I have books. And I'm not a big reader. A lot of people will be like, oh, read these books. And that's great for some people. I happen to have to listen to audiobooks, but I listen to audiobooks, and I do read. I have to force myself to read.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes people see successful people and are like, oh, they jumped off that cliff with a golden parachute. No, we've smacked our asses quite a few times, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But the key is don't give up. But yes, surround yourself with people. And if you've done a deal or two also, you might be struggling, mentor somebody else. Because the minute you start teaching and giving back, that's what took my business from here to here. And that's why I travel, I'm on the road like 36 months, a year. And
36 weeks.
Or 36 weekends, 36 weekends a year I'm usually on the road doing, traveling. And, I'm not saying I run and profit multi-millions of dollars, but I'm able to live the life I want to live while my businesses are running when I'm gone. But the key to that is, surround yourself with like-minded people, listen to books, and invest in mentorship if you have to. But also, struggling, I got picked back up by helping somebody else, training other people. When you do that, you'll catch yourself saying, well, I'm teaching it this way, but I'm actually not doing it that way in my business. Or once I started explaining it, then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What if I did this, and this a little bit different, and it's better? So, and I think once you start giving back, you'll receive.
Yeah, for sure. It forces you to level up, right?
And it may not always be receiving in the form of profit.
Sure.
But if you start doing the right things, I have found, and I believe this wholeheartedly, that profit will come.
Yeah, absolutely. So what about somebody that's brand new? So we've gone over a gambit of topics here, but maybe somebody's brand new, they don't know where to start. Maybe they've been trying to get their last deal for the last 9 months, 12 months, 2 years. I've encountered people in all those scenarios. What advice would you give them maybe to how to get started?
If you're not, I would set 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, whatever goals you are. And if you're not where you want to at, the first person you got to look at you, right? It's easy to blame somebody else, but the biggest thing too is, set those goals and take action. If you're not where you want to be at in 2 or 3 months, you're probably hesitating. We need to not hesitate. Hesitation is what gets us to stumble. Another thing too is I tell my students when they come to my class, I want you to go out next week and make 10 mistakes. Because if you're out there making mistakes, you're trying, you're doing stuff, right? I'd much rather you go out and make 10 mistakes than sit at your desk freaking out all the time or not taking any action or reading another book but not implementing it, right? And another thing too is a lot of people read books, they don't go implement anything. Yeah. So if you're out there making mistakes, you're taking action. A lot of times we're afraid to make mistakes. The minute I stopped worrying what other people thought about me, I mean, we're doing an interview in a hat and tank top right now, right? Most people's doing it in dress shirts and suits, but stop worrying about what other people think. It doesn't matter. And when you make a mistake, embrace it. You're gonna make mistakes. Yeah. And if I'm making mistakes, that means I'm trying. Now, if I'm making the same mistake over and over and over, then that's where the issue is. Sure. But we don't even know what to fix until we break something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know, I've known you for a couple of years now, and I know we make mistakes. And you were even telling me about a mutual friend that's done really well at 25 years old, and he did well because you said, hey, he was one student I had that if I told him to go do something, he went and did it. Yeah, right. Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing is go take action. Go to your local REIA meetings, and there are people out there that will mentor you for next to nothing or free right in the beginning. And find somebody like that. Have something to offer them back, and just get some value going. But just get out there and take action. Yeah, if you don't have the money, right, for mentorship, I mean, one thing I recommend people to do all the time is, hey, if there's somebody in your market that's doing what you want to do, volunteer to work for them for free. Right. The amount of knowledge that you're going to gain from that person. So put in your time. Yeah. I mean, it's a huge advantage. Exactly right. Ask them can I shadow you? Can I go? Whatever. Just I want to learn. And people want to be around like-minded people. If you walk up to somebody like, hey, I need some help. There might be, but if you walk up to somebody and say, hey, listen, this is where I want to get. I see I see you. This is the level you're at. That's where I want to be. I want to do whatever it takes. I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I will help somebody out with that mentality. Absolutely. Right? If I know they're going to go out and do what I tell them to do, or that they got that drive, I will help them all day long. Awesome. That's the key too. Is just if you believe it, they will. If you don't, they won't. Right. So we'll wrap this up. What's the best way for people to get in contact with you or follow you? You can follow me on Instagram at mshanehunt. You can follow me on Facebook at Shane Hunt, or Integrity Trust Homes LLC is my Facebook page that we're building now. So that's probably the two best ways to get them. I also have ithomesllc.com. We're getting ready to go through and redo everything. We're getting ready to rebrand our marketing and everything. So our ithomesllc.com page is going to be getting a lot better here soon.
And if you're in Columbus, how do people find your gym?
Oh yeah, the gym is mycityfitness.com. My City Fitness is our gym name. mycityfitness247.com is our website, and we're on Bethel Road. So come check us out. I'll give you a free workout.
24-hour gym. Nice.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Well, again, thanks so much, Shane. Big honor to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.